into want to clear something up before I get into some other stuff that I want you to clear up. You said on Instagram Live recently, and it got so blown out of proportion, that you have an open marriage. What you meant was,
we communicate. We have open communication.
Yeah. Right.
But then we keep things private.
And it got blown up
he doesn't have it that good. No.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up because I heard that and I was like, yeah.
I was emotional that day, but yeah.
Yes.
Didn't act like that.
Yeah, I know you were emotional. You guys with the Instagram lives back and forth. Well, just like Tasha's husband, her relationship with Escape could also be called rocky. So tonight we're digging into all their drama with a round of Can't Escape the Truth. So I want to talk about the 30 grand. If neither yourself or Rocky cashed in the royalty checks, what do you think happened to it?
I don't know. I saw this at the same time you guys did.
Okay.
About 11, 13 years that she said this happened. But because she said she posted it, and I did see that she posted it, I want to find resolve. That's my sister at the end of the day, and I don't want to continue to move forward if we can't find that.
What did you think of her post with all the receipts and everything?
Like I said, I learned about it at the same time you guys did. Didn't know anything about it.
What do you think about Tamika's claim that the solo deal you scored was initially meant for both of you and that you took it from her?
Well, what's for you is for you. I can't take anything that belongs to you. But at the end of the day, when we were thinking about, actually talking about doing music, everything kind of went downhill. And when you're talking about inspiration and inspiring people, you don't want to be fighting when you're in the studio about that type of stuff. So I moved forward in my walk.
Why block her on social media and change her number?
Never blocked my sister.
You did not?
Never blocked my sister. Why would I block my sister on social media? Now she's unfollowed me.
Okay.
I never blocked her, no. And I changed my number. It was so many things going on. I was getting crazy phone calls. And at the time, nobody was using it anyway.
Do you feel that your mom plays favorites when it comes to you and Tamika? Or is she, being dramatic when she says you're her mom's favorite?
Maybe she probably feels that way. Well, let me just say this. My sister was very rambunctious coming up. When I tell you she got in trouble by all of our aunts, she got kicked out of school. That's where she met Tiny. Okay. So she's always had that thing. And anytime my mother and I would try to talk to her, it's like, Tamika, listen, we don't want you to be looked at in that way. Like, change it. So it would probably seem to her like we were one-sided. But no, we never wanted her to be in trouble. But no, Tamika has had issues. Yeah.
What's your response to the ladies continuing to perform without you and your sister taking your parts?
We don't mind because we've done that before. Although we changed our name to Escape 3, I just felt like they should have probably respected it in that way because it's not Escape until it's all four of us. That's just how I feel. But for them, I don't want them not to make money and do shows. That's not what it's about because I love to do music. I want to do music. They want to do shows too.
Okay. So you want to rejoin them, right?
Sure. I never left.
Okay.
Outside of what you see on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I never left, okay?
Okay.
My name is off, but I'm still part of Escape.
And how did you feel about Candy saying your attitude was more of assitude because you were an ass to everyone?
Didn't hear that, but okay.
Okay.
That's how she feels. I'm a positive person. Anybody who knows me, but we've always had kind of back and forth banners, Candy and I. So I expect that to be said from her.
All right. Thank you very much, Sasha. I'm so into you could also describe their vibe this season since the trio see if we can create some by asking.
This is Rodfather 916. I hope that was clear to you. That was watch what happens live. What followed the SWV XSCAPE show tonight. I believe it was either taped tonight or a few nights ago. I took a couple of notes while I was listening. This show was filmed a year ago. Tasha. And she said she found out when we found out. So that means she wasn't present when they filmed this a year ago. So she's just now finding out when we found out. The other issue and I want you to get back in the comments with me when she talked about her sister. When Andy asked her about her sister and her mother playing favorite, I thought Tasha didn't protect her sister. I mean, would you throw your sister under the bus and say, oh, she was thrown out of her aunt's house and she was bad in school? That wasn't the question. She didn't answer the question. He wanted to know if she played favorites, and she went and shared information purposely, it seemed. It could be me, but I'd like to get your thoughts on that. A lot of fans would like to blame Rocky for Tasha's problems, and he is certainly a part of the problems. And a lot of things he did, she didn't know. I could go along with that if they were newlyweds and she was new to the business. But she's been in entertainment business. All four of the women have been in the entertainment business most of their lives. Most of their lives. We're talking just out of high school. Tasha's nearly 50. I think Candy's like 46. So to say Tasha didn't know what Rocky was doing, it's difficult to believe because between the four women, they have signed probably hundreds of contracts. And these contracts include, percentages and who gets what and what gets who and how things are performed. And so it's difficult for me to believe that Tasha wouldn't know what her husband was doing. Let me give you an example, sort of a different. Erica Jane on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills' husband stole millions of dollars from people who won cases. Millions of dollars. Erica Jane's a performer. Of course, a lot of people say, well, she would know. But her husband's a lawyer. Forms of his life is his life. That's what he does. She's not there to sign him, and she wasn't involved in any of signing or knowledge unless she was there at the office. How would she know that he had actually stolen money from these people? They have separate accounts, the whole 9 yards. But this is not the case with Tamika and Tasha and Rocky. They're in the same industry. She can look at the contract and go, that's not right. And it makes sense. It makes sense that she could have influence over the girls. She already has an instant vote in her sister Tamika. Tamika's going to agree with everything. That's something that they've said. Tiny goes back and forth. So if Tasha wants something done, she has already one vote. She has half the votes. And I could see where Candy would be frustrated because she's probably always outvoted. And it's interesting that Candy and Tiny suspected something was wrong with the contracts. Remember, they do this all the time. They see these contracts, they sign them all the time, but they didn't have proof. Now they have the receipts. And Tasha did what Tasha does. She left. So there was no resolution to this. There's another note I want to write. Now, I had heard from different sources, because, there are many blogs and videos about these ladies. I'm sure this is record ratings for Bravo tonight. I had heard that they were both looking for a record deal, sort of being a duo like Mary Mary. And something happened where only Tasha was signed. And it isn't a stretch, if you think about it, to believe, based on what we know so far, that Rocky and his wife played a part in the final decision of that contract. Oh, she don't want to do it. She's going to stay with Escape. Because remember, at the signing, which could have been staged, at the signing, she said, "Have you?" They asked Tasha, "Did she know? Did she tell the Escape that she's signing a contract?" And she said no. And I think the launch of this album was the reason why Rocky and Tasha agreed to be on the show. Because it isn't convenient. On the fourth episode, this show is fifth episode. This album is launched, and some of the music is really good. I particularly like "I'm Afraid" or "Afraid." But what they didn't, and what no one can predict it, Bravo or anybody, that Tamika would tell the world about her sister and her brother-in-law stealing money from her. Again, the money, the news that Tamika didn't hear until she saw it on television. Is this thing on? So Rocky's done. Rocky's done. He's not coming back. And I think Rocky only has one client, his wife. I mean, most managers have several clients. But I think he and Escape, Tasha and Escape was his only client. And the other thing I don't believe that Tamika, Tiny, or Candy can kick Latocha out of the group. They would have to buy her out of the group. And if the stipulation for Tanya to Latocha to stay there is Rocky, then it's a done deal. Because while they may have to deal with Latocha, they don't have with Rocky. I believe the Scott sisters love each other. However, the relationship is broken, and we can all see that. The days of Tamika's devotion to her sister is over. I think, and I'm only speculating here because these people don't know me, they don't know any of us, but I'm speculating, a lot of Tamika's devotion to her sister was linked to her mother, because she knew long ago that her mother liked Tasha better. And I think that devotion to her sister, and she loves her sister, don't get me wrong, that she sacrificed herself, because she had said, "I have done a lot of things to cover for Latocha." I think she sacrificed herself for her mother's love. Maybe her mother would love her more. But people change. Tamika, again, she's nearing 50. She's probably at a place in her life and say, "Look, what I want from my mom, I'm not going to get. And the way they treat me when they are together, I realize it's not going to change. So what I'm going to do is I will always love my mother. My mother will always have my heart. But if this is the way she treats me and I'm always crying when I'm over here, I'm not doing this anymore." Latocha, apologies don't come easy for her. And we haven't heard of an apology. I mean, one of the notes I made today when we were talking, that when Andy asked her about mother being favorite, she threw Tamika under the bus. She didn't answer the question. She said that, she was thrown out of her aunt's house and she had troubles in school. Wasn't related to that question. Wasn't related to that question. I could be wrong. You come back again in the comments and you tell me what you think. Would you have done that? Was that necessary? Latocha, again, we haven't heard an apology. I don't think an apology is forthcoming. And for them to be friends again, as close as they were, that means I think the only way that Latocha could accept the relationship is if it goes back to where they were, where Tasha follows Tamika follows Tasha's lead, and I don't think Tamika's doing that. I'm sorry, I'm having issues today. Because of the leak and subsequent appearances on various podcasts and shows, Rocky and Tasha has some major challenges ahead. Performers earn the bulk of their money through concerts, not record sales. And based on social media alone, Tasha's disliked. The only one that's disliked more than Tasha right now is her husband, Rocky. And I've said on other videos, they're in desperate need of PR. They have been. I don't know if they've hurt themselves to the point that to the point of no return. I don't know. But if they can't get a concert, get enough tickets, butts in the seats for their concerts, the likelihood of Motown dropping them is high because they're linked. Concerts motivate people for buying the record or albums. Album sales spur the concerts, getting people in the seats. I think she and Rocky would have been wiser if they would have just gone to tour with the group. Because Escape is right now their primary source of their income, Rocky's income. I mean, Tiny and Candy are fine, but Tamika and Rocky and Latocha, this is the bulk of their money is touring. Few people have heard of Edward Rocky Bivens, and now introduced to the world for the first time, a couple of million people know who he is as a slime manager, a slimy person. I can't imagine Tasha firing him, which will continue to damage her career. You know, the series was a unsuspected hit. It was a fill-in for Bravo, but probably have the best ratings for Bravo this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Bravo has a ton of footage, and I hope they get it together and see if they can make a story of it. But it's interesting. What do you think? Tasha's still not coming out credible. And again, it's not I don't want to jump on the bandwagon that she's a horrible person, and I won't jump on the bandwagon. But her words, her actions, her demeanors, it's not a good look. Rocky is just slimy. I mean, I don't know if there's a low self-esteem problem, but the two, for whatever reason, are devoted together, and that happens to families. After 20 years, you sort of go, that's who he is, I'm okay with that. And that's the way it should be. You know, if there's infidelity, whatever is taking place in that marriage, in that union, one, is none of our business. Two, if they're happy with it, we should be happy for them. We should celebrate that. As long as they're not hurting somebody, physically hurting, beating, or something like that. But the show was good. The show was drama with a capital D. I enjoyed it. Last week was kind of dry. This week was okay. But I want to think what do you think? Is there a happy ending for everybody? I mean, Tamika could use a PR person. Because right now everybody's going, she's so nice. She could benefit from this. And if she keeps touring, because I think that's a major capital mistake. Few people know Latocha outside of Escape. So if you're talking about gospel and you put her in a name in the vein of any other recognized Leandra Johnson, Yolanda Adams, they don't know her. And the fact that she's done R&B and not the type of R&B that you sat in your room and listened to with your parents or your grandparents, they have some challenges ahead. I do want her to win. You want somebody to win, but this is interesting. Once again, this is a Rod Father. I'm stumbling along tonight. It was a long day. Wishing you love, joy, and peace and happiness. I am tired, beyond belief. Let me tell you. Maybe I'll tell you tomorrow. Please be happy. Be safe. Happiness is a choice. I hope you make the right one. If you like what you heard today, hit that bell, that like bell. And if you've seen some of the videos and you like some of the information here, hit that subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Meanwhile, I apologize for the more stumbling than usual. And I do appreciate you for watching. This is the Rod Father. I am out. Bye now.